This is one of the local residents of Portland, good friend of mine, John. Hey John, how you going?
Yeah, good.
And we got Uncle Albert here, Calvin, Brother Neville, and Uncle John will be back in a minute. And black one there. So we're having a bit of a yarn today of some of the issues around here. John, if you want to start with the chemicals.
Well, I don't know. It's more a worldwide thing. Chemicals. Uh, it's just the transport that's doing it. Everybody's transporting things from here, there, everywhere, overseas. The more fuel you burn, the more plastic you've got and all other byproducts. It's a byproduct of making fuel. And now the whole world's basically drowning in plastic. All the seabeds are full of it. All the all the sea animals are all eating it. They can't digest it, so they end up dying. Um,
It's caught up in the sand.
yeah, it's just bordering on ridiculous. And it's the people that are doing it. They're consuming. They're making all this thing so that it's got to be with all the transport, with all the consumerism. To produce a new model car is a total waste of resources, but everybody buys a new car. It's just unbelievable. And then there's all the, broadacre farming, and to manage that they have to spray so much poison on and so much fertiliser, and that pollutes all the rivers, kills the fish. It's just an increasing thing all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, but we can't just blame it on human consumption and consumerism. Yeah, I think the world has come to realise that we are at a crisis point in our lives in terms of climate change and so on. But for us to consume those products, we need industry. We need a commercial industry to grow and produce the products that we're consuming. And it's those organisations or those groups that are infecting the waterways, that are using the chemicals to produce faster growth, to produce more quantity, so that they get more money.
So that
So they're using the chemical warfare against our countries and against our people, because we don't know what's in the methods that they're using to grow. The cotton industry at the moment in the Darling River in my country, we see a lot of runoff from the cotton that have infiltrated the Darling River system.
killed everything.
Everything. They're using such as MPAP 1080 that they use to foster the growth of the cotton. Is washed into the waterways, and the river system ecosystem is jeopardized for the sake of greed.
Dollars.
Yeah, for the sake of the dollar. And I think the world needs to become aware of that. They need to open their eyes up to a lot of that as well. But again, we as human beings need to look at our consumption issues as well and contribute to decreasing that usage so that we don't give the commercial industry the ammunition that they use against our country and our people.
While everybody lives in the cities, that has to go on to be able to feed them, to be able to clothe them. That type of farming has to be, because
Oh, not necessarily. You've got methods now where you can grow fruit and veg on the walls of your apartment. You've got methods now that you can you turn your patio in an urban environment into an orchard of native foods, if you wish.
Yeah.
You know, there's those types of methods that contribute to a decline in consumption and usage.
Yeah.
So using
How
those
many-
little techniques, I think we can easily say that we can eliminate the need for relying on farms to grow tomatoes, for instance.
Yeah.
So we open up a passage of country and land that we can regenerate into a native population instead of having tomatoes when we've got people that can simply grow them on the sides of their walls or on the sides of their fences if they have them in the yard. So we need to substitute those things as well. But we need to take that on board as a civilization. If we're going to act in a civilized manner, then we have to realise that that needs to be in conjunction with our land and with the way that we manage that. But we can't go placing commercialism and corporate values over top of community all the time. Otherwise, country will suffer, people will suffer.
Well, I think it's about educating the people, basically, into doing that. That's the thing, you know, like everybody's living in a high pressure society in a city, and they don't seem to have time to do that, or they can't make time to do that. But if you could educate them, even if they only grew a few tomato plants in their place, that would take the load off some of it, you know.
Not everyone can afford a new car. Not anyone can drive a new car.
Yeah.
Not anyone knows the gas emissions that a new car emits, so that it contributes to the decline in the climate change. So there's a lot of things that we need to consider before we buy a new car. A lot of people can't drive, so we need to compensate for that. And we set up training programs that allows those people to, one, do a theoretical test to learn how to identify the road rules. Second stage of the test is to go for your P's. You get behind the wheel and you learn how to drive. So there's a process for you to learn how to do that. So all we need to do is establish a process of how to grow those fruit and veggies on our walls and start to implement that process, the same as we do with learning how to drive a car. And again, it goes back to education, yeah. But I think one of the main points that we need to focus on is the chemical imbalances that have been introduced into our native environment, and how that still continues to put the land that's under stress. This place is known for it. Portland. You know yourself, huh? Look at the smokers. Look at the.
Uncle Calvin, you got anything you want to say?
Oh, just that there is no doubt that the consumption of industry worldwide is a threat to us. Global warming, I think, will change the framework of how people live in the future, and this needs drastic action taken immediately. I think first world countries need to look at other technologies for their existence rather than just mining coal and stripping Mother Earth of her resources. It's a well-known fact that mining is a destructive process for Mother Earth. So the usage of pesticides and herbicides and the impact on animals and plants it's just one huge mess that Western society has managed to lose control of. They keep on using different methods to get rid of local plants or local animals for other productions and so forth. If Western society doesn't change its framework in caring for the earth, then we're going to be in serious trouble. As Mother Earth is already demonstrating that what's been happening is not right, and we need to make a stance.
And come together.
Well, it is a serious problem when we're talking about global warming. There's no coming back from not doing anything about it. This is something that everyone throughout the world should be concerned about. There's no
Humanitarian thing.
Well, it is. But corporatism, as we know, will dictate the terms of reference on how things go. As we know, corporatism plays a huge part in policy development in governments. So there's a lot of work to be done. But yeah, this area here, herbicides and pesticides, the smelter, a whole range of different aspects have changed the impact of the environment in its natural form. Yeah.
John, you know a bit about the smelter down here?
Yeah, I worked in the smelter for about 8 years. I've seen the pollution that comes out of it, air pollution. When the pots expire, they have all the refractory is ground up, and that's called SPL, spent pot lining. And the EPA's stopped the smelter from taking it off site now, so it's just building up. It's not allowed to be out in the weather, because as soon as the water hits it, it gives off deadly gases, sodium fluorides and hydrogen fluorides.
Shit.
But in the meantime, they keep producing aluminium there, and I don't know what they're going to do with all the SPL when the smelter does eventually close down. It'll be a huge chemical waste dump.
And where are they going to put all that waste?
In your experience with all that, what do you think is the future for Portland at the moment, and if they were to keep going?
Well, there's definitely
Something needs to happen now.
well, it should be. Yeah, basically, I think there's enough aluminium in the world already. It's just one of those things. While they keep feeding the pots with the alumina, and that they keep feeding them, and then all the poisons go into the SPL, into the pot linings, and you're left with that huge quantity of, build-up of poisonous things, mercuries, even radioactive. It's got radioactive signs all around the SPL plant.
And it's Alcoa that's running these companies, eh?
Alcoa, yeah. Americans.
And now they've got these Alcoa mines all over Western Australia. They've got them spread out through Western Australia, and what they're doing is they're sending them here to Portland to smelter down the iron ore or the aluminium ore from Western Australia into the aluminium that they market. It's being melted down here in Portland, and it sends off a smell and an odour. And the waste products of that is a whole group of collective poisons that they got to store on site. and if mixed with water, it seems like it can become or create a chemical reaction that lets the emission of those gases escape into the air. So therefore human beings are consuming that air as well on their daily lives in Portland.
Yeah.
And if that gets let out on a large scale, those collective gases, then it becomes a toxic chemical warfare against the population and surrounding
Yeah.
areas of Portland.
Yeah.
That's basically the synopsis of it all.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And what about, like, how many pots do you estimate that they've got over there?
Oh, there's 4 pot lines, 400 odd pots, 408 pots. Whether they're all running at one time, I don't know. But I think most of them are going at the moment. But, they're quite huge things.
So there'd be quite what sort of scale does that chemical that you're talking about gets cleaned
Well,
out?
every available space in the pot rooms is taken up with containers full of it. And now they're building sort of container sheds out in the area there, and it's just building up and building up. They tried for years to extract the poisons out of it, but the plant they had just cost them millions of dollars, and it just didn't work. We tried for years to get that thing working, the SPL plant, but there's no way they can extract the poisons out and make it into a usable thing. They tried there. They had stockpiles of it that they said had the poisons taken out of it, but then as soon as it rained, it all turned white, and the sodium fluoride started leaching out of it. But they said, they said, oh, the councils can use it for roads, and they'll be able to put it in the cement, but no council bought it, and nobody put it in cement. Yeah.
And there's another sort of problem in Portland that you got me aware about, and that's the bromite from the pines.
They're spraying the logs with bromide to kill the bugs before they go to China. One fella I know was sleeping on his boat down at the marina, and he woke up and he was all red. His skin was burnt, and he went to the hospital. Well, first off, they called an ambulance, and then a heap of SES guys came down fully suited. There was about 14 of them came down fully suited, and it was the bromide they were using on the ship. They put a load of logs in the ship to start with, and then close the hatches and fill it up with bromide gas, and that's what wafted over and down into his boat. He was just red. Every bit of skin that was his face, arms, and that was exposed to it just turned red.
He went up the hospital, eh?
Yeah, and it works on animals that basically you drown in your own fluid. It makes your lungs make this clear liquid fluid, and you actually drown in that. It makes your lungs produce this fluid so bad. And he was just coughing, all the time, just coughing up this fluid, and running out his nose. But he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah, he got poisoned, but that's what they use on the logs, and then they tarp them over in the yards and bromide them in the log yards in the town.
So they banned it from the port then, but I've heard that they're still doing it at the port since.
Yeah,
from other people.
Yeah, it's still going.
Yeah. And also on top of the hill, we seen them yesterday.
Yeah.
with all the tarps over the logs,
Yeah,
and that's
Yes.
all leaching into the waterways.
yeah, yeah. It's all sort of great stuff. So, yeah.
Not to mention all the birds and that breathing it in, and all the other animals.
And then you've got Pivot, the fertiliser works down there. And, well, they had another Pivot at Geelong, which they closed down. Melbourne Water Supply used to get their fluoride for the water from the Geelong plant. And then I was working for an engineering mob, and we put when Geelong closed down, they put all the pipe work in to extract the fluorosilicic acid out of the mix, and they send a B double load of it down to Melbourne every week for the Melbourne Water Supply. It's it's an acid. I've been burnt with it. It sort of burns your skin. And if you see where it comes from, I wouldn't drink the Melbourne water. It comes out of the fertiliser works. But prior to that, I sort of said to them, as we were putting the pipe work in, we were down in the bunt doing all this pipe work, and we had electrical tools and that draping through. We were sort of like ankle deep in this fluorosilicic acid that they were saving up for the first shipment. And I went up to the control room and asked if they could pump the bunt out, which is the area that contains any spillage. And I've got nowhere to put it. We've got nowhere to put it. Everything's full up. All the tanks are all full up. And I says, well, why don't you just pump it into the sea like you used to? Oh, we haven't done that for 3 weeks, he said. But I've witnessed it. I've stood up on the hill above Pivot one day in the pouring rain, and they must have thought, nobody be looking. And this bright green fluoride colour was going out into the water where they're pumping out. During the day, they usually do it at night so nobody could see it, see? It's all, every industry that you have makes pollution.
And you've had a bit of a first-hand experience with fluoride.
I've worked in oil refineries, I've worked in aluminium smelters, fertiliser works, a whole lot. And every industry has its, byproducts, poisons that it has to get rid of some way or another. Like the oil refineries, the main one is the polymer, is what they make all the plastic out of. All the different plastics are extracted from this black tar that's left over after they take all the petrols and the kerosenes and the oils out of it. You're just left with this oozy black tar, and that's called polymer, and that's what they extract all the different plastics out of. And so while they still produce petrol, they're going to produce plastic as well, and that's why we've this plastic problem, because so much fuel is being consumed by everybody driving around, transports, aeroplanes, a whole lot. And if the fuel's not cut back, or some alternative style of like maybe electric cars, we're just going to keep producing plastic. And the more you dig out of the ground, the more you pump out of the ground, the more plastic you've got. And most of it now is breaking down. It's actually a fibrous thing, and it breaks down in the sea or in waterways or whatever, or in the sunlight. And these fibres are still that's what's killing all the fish, killing all the bottom feeders in the oceans, in the rivers. It's because they can't digest it, and it just builds up in their stomachs. Don't know. I think the whole world has to change completely
Definitely.
and stop all this, transport. Everything's being, You go to the supermarket and you pick up a orange or something and it's come from California. What's wrong with the Australian oranges? It's just amazing, you know. It's all about the money, the balance of trade, all that sort of thing. It's the big wheels that are gearing it all. But then the people follow along and it's
And there we have it, people. What we got.
so we have.
I'm amazed. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, John.
No,
So we have to-
leave it, flick.
Basically, I think it's the biggest thing that's got to be done is educating the people into what. See, they're blindly going on, the people, and educating them into not using so much, you know, not consuming all this.
Fixing the same stuff instead of
Yeah.
going to buy new things all the time.
Yeah. All those sort of things. It's got to be changed.
We're
People.
blaming ourselves. We keep blaming ourselves, and I don't like that idea of us blaming ourselves when you've just completely explained a situation where the Australian public, and particularly the public here in Portland, are indulging in a chemical warfare. They're dealing in a chemical warfare with a commercial industry that is producing byproducts of poison. It starts with them coming here to chop down a simple tree. Then they get all this poison and they cover that tree with bromide. And that seeps into the air and it burns your skin. And then we got a smelter company that is building up poisonous gas and storing it on site here in Portland. And any contact with water, that gas or that storage then becomes a gas bomb for the community. They get to smelling all that sulfuric acid and all that stuff, associated stuff with it, which can kill them.
Well, we'll kill them,
So
won't it?
will
Yeah, it
kill 'em.
eventually kills you. Yeah.
So that's
Causes all sorts of different problems, cancers, and there's quite a high rate of cancer in Portland.
an act of terror.
Yeah,
That's an act of terror against the Australian population.
yeah,
And we've been saying it all along that black people want to take control back over their country so we can stop a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And yet we haven't been supported in doing that.
No.
And I think the world needs to wake up to what the commercial industry is doing in terms of their contributions to damaging the climate and climate injustice. What we've just heard from this man here and his experiences in these companies are quite alarming. And it's quite alarming because the commercial industry is allowed to get away with it. And like Uncle Calvin said earlier, you've got the corporate idiots that are sitting in government that are making the decisions and the rules and the laws and the regulations that allow these people to get away with it. We've been blinded to all this.
basically.
This is what we've been referring to over many generations of our fight in activism, is that the Australian public has been placed with a colonial blindfold. And now it's time for the Australian public to lift that colonial blindfold off now and see this failing government for what it is. Help us black people restore our own governance, because our governance was for the betterment of country. Our governance was for the protection of our countries. It wasn't so we could exploit it and rip our countries apart and devastate our lives just so we can accept the greed and the selfishness that goes with it. We have to wake ourselves up from native title and the divisions that's causing between us. we've got to start to come together and start to look at ways we can stop companies like this and support mob that have got these companies on their countries. And then we've got to stop them and make sure that they aren't allowed to be able to produce those dangerous substances that contribute to a chemical warfare. The chemical warfare that's waged on all of us. And it's up to us to stop that. If we don't become aware of it and wake up to it, then that future that we're all fighting for is just a big dark hole. A big dark hole that's out of our reach because you won't listen to Aboriginal people. We are the creators of humanity. We have created these rivers, we have created these forests, we have created these ravines. We have protected and we have preserved them for many, many thousands of years, and it only taken you 230 years to destroy a lot of that. And you guys have placed yourselves into a position now where humanity is at risk of extinction. So it's time for everyone to wake up, and it's time to start to put back into place those ancient governance practices that we kept into place for many, 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 many thousands of years. We have been here from the first sunrise, and we'll be here until the last sunrise, because this is what we were born for, and this is what we are here for, as custodians, as caretakers, as gatekeepers of our countries. So wake up, mob, and start supporting each other and getting out of this bullshit that we're in, because we've just heard the terrorism that's going on in this country and that we're all blinded to. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Uncle. Anything else you'd like to say?
Not really.
No. Thank you very much for sharing.